What do you do if you realize that you might have been the bully? That's a hard realization to kind of look at and go, oof, that was kind of ugly. It was maybe not my best moment. That's a hard thing to look at yourself and recognize. So I actually give you a lot of credit. That takes maturity. That takes looking at yourself when you might want to just run and hide. Good for you. Like, I'm proud of you guys who have done that and who have recognized that's not who I want to be. I want to be something different, but I don't know how. If you don't know how, that's okay. You've recognized something, and now we're going to work on what to do next. So first of all, one of the reasons why we get stuck in that is because we feel like we're trying to make our own justice, right? So you're just treating somebody else the way they treated you, or you're just wanting to get even, or you're standing up for a friend, or you're trying to create change. Like, it could be whatever reason you want to say, but the truth is we often act ugly and unkind out of our own emotional reactions. So there's this statement that says, hurt people hurt people. Now, what does that mean? It's not just a repeat. It's saying, like, people who are hurting often will then react by harming others. It's not necessarily an intentional thing. Sometimes it is. But sometimes it's just you've got all that emotion inside of yourself, and you've got all of that confusion maybe even inside of yourself, and you're just reacting and you're not really thinking. And then there's the other side where sometimes you are just protecting yourself and you're going, I'm just gonna like be harsh and be snarky. Sometimes you're trying to beat somebody else to the punch, and so you know, like, well, I need to do this so that they stay away from me. Gosh, life is hard. I happen to believe that public school is hard. Like, high school is tough. I am so thankful that I am not in high school right now, because I think it would be awful. We didn't have smartphones when I was, school aged, and so I don't know how to imagine what that is like. Different story, different day. But if you recognize that maybe you have been ugly or you've been unkind and you've been the bully to somebody else, that's a hard burden. And I know that this is just YouTube and you're not actually sitting here with me. I wish you were. Like, we could talk about it, and everybody's situation is unique, and so there would be stuff that we would work out based on your specific situation. But I would want you to know I'm proud of you, number one, for realizing it, and number two, I don't look at you any different. I don't see you as now your identity is horrible and your identity is this shameful, worthless person. I see you as being human, and you made a good mistake. And now let's work on that mistake. Let's try to make it right. And some of that, you might need to make that right before God. Shame can really eat at us, and guilt can really eat at us. And yes, we need to get things right with the people in our lives, but oftentimes we need to get things right with God. And I've got some videos on those topics. If you want to look up shame and guilt and how to handle them, because sometimes we get eaten up from the inside. My guess is if you're struggling because you feel like I've been the bully and now I'm this horrible person, and my identity is worthless, or my identity is corrupt, or I just am gross, like I just feel gross. You're dealing with shame, you're feeling guilty, and you don't know what to do. So check out those videos. But also realize and recognize, when you find out that you have been unkind to somebody else, it depends on your situation, but you can make it right. If you can make it right, do. Do you know that an apology goes a really long way? And here's the thing, when we apologize, we make ourselves vulnerable, and we may not always get a reaction that we want, but at least you have the conscious, like, I tried, and I put it out there. And however they react, that's on them, but I at least did the right thing, and I owned my mistake, and I didn't allow my fear to hold somebody else back from realizing that I was just having an ugly moment. Listen, apologizing, I know it doesn't go over well, in teenagers and young people and even college age. Like, we can often just react when someone is apologizing to us, but do you realize how freeing that can be, whether or not they react in a positive way? I have been so encouraged by the few times when someone's actually come up to me and said, hey, I did something. I told you this, that, and the other. I was reacting out of fear or hurt or my pride or whatever it was. And I own that. I never should have said that. So in 13 Reasons Why, there was this one scene where I think it was Ryan comes into the Baker Pharmacy and he's talking with Hannah, and this is before he published her poem, before he had like done all those terrible things, but he had published the Hot or Not list, and she's super mad at him, which I get, and she's like, just stay away from me, like I can't trust you, I don't know what's gonna happen. And he actually comes to her in the pharmacy, gives her a purple notebook and says, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, I didn't mean to be unkind, I'm sorry, I want to make it up to you. It can be that simple. Just own the moment. Say what you did. Don't make excuses. Own it. Apologize. Ask if there's anything you can do to make it right, and then walk away. Like, don't make this all about you. The moment has to be about them. Scary things to do. Incredibly brave and courageous things to do. It may not go over well. Again, someone else's hurt and emotion is involved in this, right? But then you got to hold to it, so don't repeat. It's hard. I'm really proud of those of you that are out there that are trying to do that and trying to make things right. If it doesn't go the right way that you wanted it to, that doesn't mean you necessarily did anything wrong. But learning to apologize is a skill that takes time to learn. And it's a good one to start learning now, because I have a feeling you and I both are going to be messing up a lot through life, and it's good to learn how to have a wholehearted and healthy apology. It can go a long way.